They say some people are born under a dark star. But what happens when you're born on the one night when the veil between worlds grows thin, when darkness walks freely and evil finds its voice? This is the story of Marcus Holloway, a man born at the stroke of midnight on Halloween, 1991. His mother's screams echoed down the hallways. The hospital lights flickered. And when he entered this world, not a single person in that delivery room felt joy, only a creeping, inexplicable dread. Before we begin, I need you to do something. Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me, do you believe some people are born evil, or does the world make them that way? Because what you're about to hear will challenge everything you think you know about human nature. This is a true story. The names have been changed, but the darkness? That's all too real. October 31st, 1991. St. Mary's Hospital, a small town in rural Oregon. Eleanor Holloway had been in labor for 16 hours. The nurses whispered among themselves, they'd never seen a birth like this. The baby seemed to be fighting his way into the world, but not in the normal way. Every contraction brought a wave of cold through the room. Monitors malfunctioned. The backup generator kicked in twice. At 11:47 p.m., Dr. Patricia Gus noticed something that would haunt her for the rest of her career. On the ultrasound, just before the final push, the baby's eyes appeared to be open, staring directly at the camera. "That's impossible," she muttered. At exactly midnight, as trick-or-treaters dumped their candy on living room floors across America, as the witching hour arrived, Marcus Holloway was born. He didn't cry. His eyes were open, dark and aware, scanning the room like he was assessing his surroundings. Eleanor, exhausted and delirious, reached for her son. But when the nurse placed him in her arms, Eleanor felt it. A coldness that had nothing to do with temperature. "There's something wrong with him," she whispered. "All babies are strange at first," the nurse replied, but her voice wavered. She felt it too. Marcus's father, Robert, stood in the corner of the room. He couldn't explain it, but he felt an overwhelming urge to leave. To run. He stayed, of course, he was a good man, but that feeling never truly left him. The Holloways tried. God, they tried. Eleanor was a kindergarten teacher, warm and patient. Robert was a carpenter, the kind of man who'd give you the shirt off his back. They had everything a child could need, a loving home, a golden retriever named Bailey, a tree house in the backyard. But Marcus was different. By age 2, while other toddlers clung to their mothers, Marcus would push Eleanor away. Not with tantrums or tears, with cold calculation. He learned early that affection made people vulnerable, and he wanted no part of vulnerability. By age 4, Bailey the dog disappeared. They found her 3 days later in the woods behind their house, cowering in a hollow log. The vet said she'd had some kind of psychological break. "Animals don't just break like this," he said, looking suspiciously at the family. Bailey never went near Marcus again. Age 7 brought the incident at school. A classmate, Tommy Callie, had accidentally knocked over Marcus's art project. It was an honest mistake, the kind that happens every day in 2nd grade. Marcus smiled at Tommy, helped him pick up the papers. Then, at recess, Marcus pushed Tommy off the top of the jungle gym. Tommy survived with a broken arm and collarbone. Marcus, when questioned by the principal, showed the perfect amount of remorse. Tears at the right moments. Apologies that sounded sincere. But Mrs. Patterson, the principal, saw his eyes. Empty. Performing. "He's not sorry," she told Eleanor and Robert. "He's mimicking what sorry looks like." Eleanor broke down crying in the parking lot. Robert held her, and for the first time, he said it out loud, "Maybe there's something wrong with our son." They took him to therapists. 5 different ones over 3 years. Each one said the same thing in different ways. Marcus was highly intelligent, showed no signs of developmental disorders, no history of trauma to explain his behavior. But each therapist, after working with Marcus for a few months, would quietly suggest the family see someone else. One therapist, Dr. Hammond, was more honest than the rest. In his final session report, he wrote, "This child understands emotions intellectually but doesn't experience them. He has learned to manipulate the emotional responses of others with disturbing precision. I recommend long-term observation, but in my 30 years of practice, I have never encountered a child who made me feel genuine fear. Until now." Eleanor never showed Robert that report. She burned it in the fireplace and tried to love her son harder. Adolescence should have made things better. Or worse. But Marcus was neither. He was calculating. By age 13, he'd mastered the art of being exactly what people expected. To his teachers, he was a quiet, diligent student. To his classmates, he was forgettable, not popular, not bullied, just there. To his parents, he performed the role of troubled but improving son. But behind closed doors, Marcus conducted experiments. He'd learned that people operated on patterns. Give them what they expect, and they stop looking deeper. So he smiled at breakfast. Said thank you at dinner. Asked about his Mother's Day. Each gesture was calculated to maintain peace, not because he cared, but because conflict drew attention. At 16, Eleanor was diagnosed with breast cancer. Stage 3. The prognosis was uncertain, but with treatment, the doctors were hopeful. Robert fell apart. He stopped showing up to work sites. Started drinking. The man who'd built tree houses and birdhouses and hope now built nothing but excuses. Marcus watched his mother wither. Watched his father crumble. And felt nothing. He drove Eleanor to chemotherapy appointments because it needed to be done. He helped her to the bathroom when she was too weak to walk alone. He held the bowl when she vomited. But it was all mechanical. He was going through motions like a robot running a program. One night, Eleanor woke up around 2 a.m. The house was quiet. She heard something in Marcus's room, a sound she couldn't quite place. She shuffled down the hallway, her body weak from treatment. Marcus's door was cracked open. She peered inside. He was sitting at his desk, illuminated by the blue glow of his computer screen. He was watching a video of her, from earlier that day, retching into a bowl after treatment. But he wasn't just watching. He was studying it. Taking notes. His face was completely neutral, analytical, like a scientist observing a lab rat. Eleanor felt her blood turn to ice. Her son wasn't helping her out of love. He was observing her suffering with clinical detachment. She never mentioned what she saw. What could she say? What should she say? Eleanor survived the cancer. But something in her died anyway, the hope that her son might somehow learn to love. Marcus graduated high school with honors. Got a full scholarship to Oregon State. Majored in psychology, not to help people, but to understand them better. To refine his manipulation. He moved out at 18 and called home exactly once a month. 12 calls a year. Never on holidays. Never on birthdays. Always on the third Sunday, at 2 p.m., for exactly 15 minutes. Efficient. Predictable. Meaningless. Eleanor would cry after those calls. Robert stopped answering. Marcus got his master's degree, then a job at a corporate consulting firm. He was exceptional at it, reading people, identifying their weaknesses, exploiting them for business gains. He climbed the ladder quickly. By 30, he was a senior partner making $400,000 a year. He dated occasionally beautiful, intelligent women who thought they could crack his shell. They'd last 3 months, maybe 6, before they realized the truth: there was no shell. There was nothing to crack. October 15, 2024. Marcus received a call from an unknown number. He didn't usually answer those, but something made him pick up. Marcus? A weak, raspy voice. His mother. "This is not your monthly call day," Marcus said. "You're 2 weeks early." "I'm dying, Marcus." Eleanor's voice cracked. "The cancer came back. Stage 4. They're giving me weeks, maybe days." Silence. "Marcus? Did you hear me?" "I heard you. Will you come home?" "Your father, he's not well either. His liver is failing." "The drinking." "Marcus, we don't have much time. I need to see you. I need to know that you," her voice broke completely. "I need to know that I mattered to you. That you loved me, even a little." Marcus looked out his office window at the Portland skyline. Rain streaked the glass. He thought about his schedule. A presentation on Thursday. A client dinner on Friday. "I'll see what I can do with work," he said. "Marcus, I'm dying. I understand the situation. I'll check my calendar and let you know." He hung up. For the next 3 days, Marcus went about his life normally. Presentation on Thursday, crushed it. Client dinner Friday, secured a $2 million contract. Saturday morning, he went to the gym, did his usual routine, had brunch at his favorite spot. Saturday afternoon, October 19th, his phone rang again. Different number. "Mr. Holloway?" An unfamiliar voice. "This is St. Mary's Hospital. I'm calling about your mother, Eleanor Holloway. She passed away this morning at 9:47 a.m. Your father, Robert, is here. He's asking for you." Marcus thanked the nurse and hung up. He sat in his apartment, expensive furniture surrounding him, city lights twinkling outside. His mother was dead. The woman who carried him, birthed him, loved him despite everything, was gone. Marcus waited to feel something. Grief. Regret. Loss. Anything. Nothing came. He ordered takeout, watched a documentary about ancient Rome, and went to bed at his usual time. Marcus drove home for the first time in 6 years. The town looked smaller, sadder. Fall leaves covered everything in shades of orange and brown. Halloween decorations adorned every house: skeletons, ghosts, witches. The universe's cruel joke. The funeral was small. Eleanor had been beloved, but the cancer had isolated her in her final years. 30 people attended, mostly her former students and teaching colleagues. Robert looked like a ghost himself. 70 pounds lighter than Marcus remembered, skin gray, eyes sunken. He sat in the front pew, shoulders shaking with silent sobs. Marcus sat beside him. People expected him to comfort his father. He placed a hand on Robert's shoulder, the gesture required. Robert flinched at the touch. During the eulogy, person after person talked about Eleanor's kindness. Her patience. Her love. She never gave up on anyone, one former student said. Even when everyone else would have walked away, Eleanor stayed. She believed in the good in people. Marcus felt eyes on him. Everyone knew. They all knew that Eleanor's greatest failure sat right there in the front row, wearing a perfectly pressed suit, face arranged in appropriate sadness, feeling absolutely nothing. After the service, during the reception, Marcus heard whispers. "Can you believe he didn't even come see her? I heard he was in Portland the whole time. 2-hour drive. What kind of son? She talked about him constantly, you know. Always made excuses for him. Marcus is busy, Marcus is important, Marcus is just different. That boy was born wrong. Eleanor knew it. She just couldn't admit it. Marcus helped himself to a sandwich, the conversations washing over him like background noise. Robert cornered him by the dessert table. His father's eyes were bloodshot, but there was something else there now. Not hope. Hope had died years ago. This was something harder. Colder. Why did you even bother coming? Robert's voice was barely a whisper, but it cut like a knife. It's expected, Marcus replied honestly. Expected. Robert laughed, bitter and broken. Your mother spent 33 years making excuses for you. 33 years convincing herself that somewhere, buried deep, you had a soul. That you could love. That you were just hurt or confused or traumatized by something we didn't know about. I'm not traumatized. I know. Robert's eyes filled with fresh tears. That's what makes it so much worse. There's no reason. No excuse. You're just empty. My wife wasted her love on you. I wasted my life trying to be a good father to something that isn't even human. Marcus felt a flicker of something. Not anger, he didn't do anger. But annoyance. This conversation was inefficient. Are we done? Marcus asked. Robert stared at his son. This man he'd raised, taught to ride a bike, coached in Little League, tucked into bed 1,000 times. This stranger wearing his son's face. Yeah, Robert said finally. We're done. We've been done for 33 years. I just couldn't see it. He turned to walk away, then stopped. Your mother's last words were about you. You know what she said? Marcus waited. She said, tell Marcus I'm sorry. I'm sorry I couldn't teach him how to love. I'm sorry I failed him. Even dying, she thought it was her fault. Robert's voice broke. She loved you so much, and you killed her. Not the cancer. You. Every day you didn't call, every holiday you missed, every time you looked at her with those dead eyes, you killed her piece by piece. Robert walked away. Marcus finished his sandwich. Marcus stayed in town for 3 days to handle the estate. His father was too ill to deal with it, so everything fell to Marcus. The house was modest but paid off. Worth maybe $350,000. There was a life insurance policy, $100,000. Some savings. In total, after everything was liquidated, Marcus stood to inherit around $500,000. He called a realtor, put the house on the market. He visited his father once, at the small apartment Robert had moved to after Eleanor's death. I'm selling the house, Marcus informed him. Of course you are. Robert said. You'll get half the proceeds. Should be enough to cover your medical expenses. How generous. It's legally required. Robert finally looked at his son. Do you ever wonder why you're like this? No. Marcus blurted. No curiosity at all? About why you were born without whatever makes the rest of us human? Marcus considered the question clinically. Sometimes I wonder if it's genetic or developmental. But mostly, I don't care. This is more efficient. Efficient. Robert laughed weakly. You sound like a machine. Machines are predictable. Reliable. They don't make emotional decisions that derail their objectives. What are your objectives, Marcus? Success. Comfort. Freedom from obligation. And you've achieved all that? Yes. Then why are you still so goddamn miserable? Marcus frowned. I'm not miserable. I'm content. No, Robert said, his voice gaining strength. You're not anything. Content requires the capacity to feel contentment. You're just nothing. A black hole where a person should be. And the saddest part? You don't even know what you're missing. Marcus left without saying goodbye. He returned to Portland the morning of the 31st. He had no plans, birthdays were arbitrary markers of time, nothing more. But his assistant had organized a surprise party at the office. 30 people, cake, champagne, the works. Marcus smiled. Said thank you. Blew out the candles when they sang. Made a wish when someone insisted, though wishes were superstitious nonsense. Everyone left by 6 p.m. to take their kids trick-or-treating. Marcus stayed, catching up on emails. At 9 p.m., his phone rang. Unknown number again. Against his better judgment, he answered. Mr. Holloway? This is Providence Hospital. Your father was admitted 2 hours ago. His liver failed. He's not going to make it through the night. He's asking for you. I'm in Portland. It's a 2-hour drive. I understand, sir. But if you want to say goodbye, you need to come now. Marcus looked at his computer screen. 3 emails left to answer. Then he could go home, order Thai food, watch his documentary. I'll head out in the morning, he said. Sir, he won't make it to morning. Then I guess I won't make it in time. Silence on the other end. Then, sir, with all due respect, he's your father. Biology doesn't obligate me to anything. He's dying. He's alone. And he's calling for you. Why? Marcus asked genuinely. I've never given him a reason to want me there. The nurse's voice hardened. You're right. You haven't. But he's still hoping. Even now, he's hoping you're more than what you've shown him. That's what parents do. They hope. Hope is irrational. And you're a monster. The nurse hung up. Marcus stared at his phone. The word rattled around his head. Monster. Was he? Monsters were cruel, violent, destructive. Marcus was none of those things. He simply didn't feel. He finished his emails. Ordered his Thai food. Started his documentary. At 11:47 p.m., the exact minute he'd been born 33 years earlier, his phone rang one final time. Mr. Holloway? Your father passed away at 11:43 p.m. I'm sorry for your loss. Marcus thanked her and hung up. He was an orphan now. Both parents dead within 2 weeks. Most people would be devastated. Marcus felt relief. No more obligations. No more expectations. No more monthly phone calls. He was free. At midnight, as Halloween turned to November 1st, Marcus went to bed. Tomorrow he'd handle the second funeral, the second estate, the final loose ends. Then he could get back to his life. His efficient, successful, empty life. So, here's what I want you to think about, what I want you to comment below. Was Marcus born evil? Or did something happen, something we can't see, something in that moment of birth on Halloween night, that broke him? His mother thought she failed him. His father called him a black hole. His therapists couldn't explain him. The women who tried to love him all left. But Marcus doesn't think he's broken. He thinks he's evolved. Free from the weaknesses that plague everyone else. No heartbreak because there's no heart to break. No grief because there's no love to lose. He's 40 now, still successful, still climbing. He attends board meetings and closes deals and lives in a penthouse with a view of the river. He has everything society says should make him happy. And he feels nothing. Is that curse or blessing? I don't have the answer. Maybe you do. Drop a comment below. Do you believe some people are born without the capacity to love? Have you ever met someone like Marcus? And if you could say one thing to him, what would it be? Subscribe if you want more stories that make you question human nature. Like if this story gave you chills. And share if you know someone who needs to hear this, whether they're like Marcus, or they've loved someone like Marcus. Because the scariest monsters aren't the ones in Halloween costumes. They're the ones sitting across from us at dinner, wearing human faces, feeling nothing at all. For Eleanor, who loved until the end. For Robert, who hoped until the last breath. And for everyone who's ever loved a Marcus, I'm sorry.